Yes, so effectively we'll call you all up. We'll do sort of, oh, there we go. We'll have you all speak in an order, and then in reverse order for your first question, and then reverse order from that for your second question, ad infinitum, basically. Don't worry, I will guide you. Go from there. So rules are, as standard, be respectful of each other. Please try not to talk or cough during your sort of the speeches and the questions themselves. Please try to keep to time. We will keep you to time as well. And yes, no negative campaigning. Try to be respectful of everyone. We will know if you are negative campaigning. So yes, that's the most part. You got anything to add, Jamie?
Shall we talk about the, well, we, just to reiterate then, so you'll be given the chance to have a speech for 90 seconds, and then we'll move on to questions, and you'll be asked to give your speech in order of publicity, and we will obviously signal to you before your time is up. You will be asked to stop, so make sure that you get all of your key points within your time.
Perfect. I think you've got inclusion and communities.
Yes, indeed. So I'd like to call up the candidates for inclusion and communities, please.
That's it. For your data protection rights, this is being live streamed.
So, Jem and Gabe, could you come up to the front, please? Can we? Okay, so we're going in order of publicity. So we'll start with Jem McKenzie, please.
Hi, as you may or may not know, so I'm your current inclusion officer, but I'm running to be re-elected. So before my role, I wasn't sure how I would do, and I wasn't used to sharing my experience in serious meetings, but I'm being so honest about it to senior staff at university as well. But I was really happy to share that and other students' needs. It does take a lot of work and responsibility and trust from students to do these things, let alone delivering it. And this role, I believe, my fellow candidate does deserve a shot at, but I also believe that this is also a good time to re-elect me as a second-year officer, and it will be important as we do tackle really deep institutional changes that go even deeper than meets the eye. My personal strengths and qualities that led me to this role includes being personable, representing so many different identities, underrepresented groups, and being a big ally for the groups I do not identify with. Two of my manifestos this year are around issues I may not struggle with. First being implementing more prayer spaces. Second being be able to do more to support students who live with neuronal differences. This is, as I've identified these issues as being the most deep-rooted at university, and therefore the most difficult to achieve in such a short frame. But it would be possible when we're doing a second year. My third manifesto is reacting to student needs, as this role requires flexibility and time to really tackle some issues. But I have already started working on a few
10 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jem. Thank you. And Gabe, please.
Hi, I'm Gabe. I'd like to say thank you. I use they, he pronouns, and I've completed my undergrad here at Reading University, and I loved it enough to come back for my medieval studies MRes. I have been at this university for a total of 5 years, 3 of which I have been welfare or EDI officer for societies. It's been a mixed bag, honestly. I have seen some positives, such as staff asking pronouns, them respecting boundaries, making efforts to accommodate disabilities, making classes representative. They've been bolstering the voices of minorities and instilling a sense of belonging. However, I have also seen the bad over these years. There are buildings which are still inaccessible. lifts are still hidden or in disrepair. Disabled toilets are not signposted, and there's a lack of quiet spaces and study spaces. Almost every single year I have been at this university, Reading has made the headlines for transphobia, and I don't want to see another year. I want to make a change, and with your help, I can make that change.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll move on to questions now. And the first question, which will be in order of publicity for the first question, how will you go about developing student communities to create a sense of belonging on campus? So we'll start with Jem, please.
So in 7 months of post, I managed to start the planning and delivery of Community Festival, Black Art Showcase and Cultural Show, all vital to celebration of student communities with cultural representation. In the rest of my 5 months, plus an extra 12, I'll be able to tackle more difficult problems, and now that I have a head start, such as continuing to increase prayer space facilities, ensuring staff across the institution are better trained, and helping looking after students with neuronal differences. But my relationships I've built with staff and key stakeholders will ensure that I can do this better and quicker, hopefully. But I've already started work, basically, to... Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Gabe, please, the same question. Do you want me to repeat the question? Okay, so just to recap, how will you go about developing student communities to create a sense of belonging on campus?
So as part of my manifesto, I've suggested introducing culture fairs with the purpose of giving spaces to students to celebrate their culture and identities and teach others in the process. I will also extend this invite to other willing student communities such as disabled, queer, and neurodivergent individuals who wish to educate and celebrate their identities. In doing this, I will develop student communities, create a sense of belonging, and foster an understanding student body.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, yes, we do indeed. We do indeed. Just too eager. Can you tell me about a time where you have championed the principles of equity? And we're going to start with Gabe for this one, please.
For the past 5 months, I've worked with lecturers, providing them with a student perspective and championing principles of equity by reminding staff that every student is unique. Recently, I've highlighted that for some, multiple jobs are a necessity, which impacts time for exams and assessments. That for others, accommodations to facilitate accessible field trips or studies will not always be the same. These are just a few ways which I've encouraged staff to consider equity, not just equality, and to ask students what works for them to take into account their opinions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, give a round of applause, because this is tricky coming up here. And next, Jem, please.
Hi, so for equity, a few examples of times when I've really championed this is for Living Black in Halls. I have really helped co-lead the focus groups for that. And it was really important for getting Black students' voices heard on their experiences in halls, which is now being conjugated together into a big report. And then another thing I'm doing is I'm working on bi-inclusion training for staff and students. I delivered one this term and last term, and that was really beneficial. And then I also was including the work around pronouns being implemented better in RUSU and working on a bigger piece around it now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You want to do the third question? Yeah. Okay, and it's time for question number 3 for this round. And we're going back to promotional order. So what initiatives would you introduce to ensure RUSU's student leadership is diverse? So Jem, please. Thank you.
Hi. So the main one that I would really like to introduce is paying our roles that are representing more diverse backgrounds. One thing that I would like to do is make the part-time officers, for example, paid. This is a really important part of ensuring that representation is true. As a student from a low socioeconomic background myself, it's really important to getting those voices heard and making sure that we are paying people for sharing their traumas ultimately and what they need. And it is the best way that we ensure that we are the most diverse.
Thank you, thank you. And finally, Gabe, please.
I believe that in making students feel safe and welcome on campus, they will be more willing to step up to leadership roles. And I will work with organizations such as Transmuted and Running Trans Movement to increase feelings of safety with the trans community on campus. I will work with Travelers Pride, an organization which educates on how to make organizations more accessible to traveler communities. And I will introduce basic BSL and EDI training for Reading RUSU staff, to name but a few organizations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So one more round of applause for our Inclusion and Communities candidates. Thank you very much for... You may sit back down. You may sit back down. Go for it. So, we're now moving on to the wonders of activities and opportunities. The candidates on the screen to the stage. Bonus points if you can stay in order of publicity. Amazing. Perfect then. In which case, we'll move on to our 90-second speeches. And yes, Shania, would you like to come to the stage? Whenever you're ready.
Hello everyone, my name is Shania. I'm a third year English Literature and Theatre student. Currently I'm president of Minghella Society, and this is an academic society that supports film, theatre and television students. And I'm also secretary for International Society. The main focus for my campaign is cost-effective socials. I believe this year we've seen a lot of formals, and not that I'm complaining, I love to get dressed up and hair and heels, but I think we would all agree with cost of living on the rise, it's really important to have opportunities that support everyone from different financial backgrounds. I would like to implement more free, if that's possible, free socials, including film nights and television series screenings. I also want to continue £1.50 breakfasts and increase its outreach to across campus with breakfast stations. I believe that RUSU doesn't need a dictator. It doesn't need a leader. It already has a leader. Everyone here is RUSU. And I believe that a student-run RUSU is what makes ours one of the best in the country. I want to try and be a vessel for RUSU. I want to be an entity to allow the wants and needs of our student body to shine through.
Thank you, Shania. That's amazing. Thank you. Sorry, that was the 90 seconds. It goes quickly.
Oh, I didn't get a...
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. I need to be a bit louder then. That's my apology.
Okay.
If you want to give... Can you sum up in 5?
Vote for me, Shania. Let me be your vessel, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Matthew? I'll be a bit louder. Apology. Whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name's Matthew, and I'm excited to be running for the position of Activities and Opportunities Officer. As a final year student studying consumer behaviour and marketing, and with my experience working at RUSU since September 2020, I have a unique set of skills and insights to create a dynamic and engaging student community at Reading University. I'm committed to igniting your university experience by increasing participation and engagement in student-led activities. To achieve this, I have a plan to make information about student-led activities, work experience events, and university functions more accessible to everyone. With my proposal to install a central point of activities information on campus, you'll never miss an opportunity to make the most of your university experience. I want to ensure that all students can participate in these activities regardless of any barriers they may face. Giving back to the community is also important, and that is why I am committed to supporting and expanding student volunteering schemes so that you can make a difference and give back to the community. As an officer, I will unleash your creative potential by promoting student media. I will provide resources and support so that you can showcase your talent and make your mark on campus. To conclude, my main aim is to ensure that every voice is heard and every student is given the chance to thrive. So I urge you to cast your voice and join me on this exciting journey. Thank you for your time and support.
Perfect.
Sorry. Hi everyone, I'm Beth and I'm a final year English Literature and Theatre student. I have a lot of experience with running a society in 2 different capacities. First, having been social secretary and now president of women's football. I know how societies are run from a committee perspective and the challenges that go into it day to day. From preparation for freshers to organisation of charity events to internal funding and support of the members. As your next activities and opportunities officer, I pledge to prioritise the equality, diversity and inclusion and enrich your student experience. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I just want to start by saying that for the last 2 years I've lived and breathed societies. I am the secretary of the Games and Roleplay Society and have been for the past 2 years. So I understand a lot of what goes into running societies from that student side. Running the risk assessments, the day running, that kind of thing. And I would really like to apply that knowledge of running one of the larger societies in RUSU to the officer roles specifically. I'm also the president of the Sea Shanty and Folk Society, which got started in last term. So I am aware of how smaller societies are run as well, and also the process that goes into creating them. So I want to make it much easier for societies to be able to be created, as well as to be able to be run. Because I know that societies can create really useful student experiences and amazing student experiences, and I want to free them up more to do that in the future. I also want to visit the societies and sports clubs that I have not seen, I have not been to know how they're run and know what they need, and also to be very available to any criticisms that you might have. Thank you very much for your time.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, all candidates. So we have our first question. And Shania, you'll be up first. We have, how will you ensure the continued engagement of students in societies and sports clubs at RUSU?
Thank you for your question. One way I would help to support engagement, one of the main things is you can't have engagement if there isn't advertising, if no one knows about if the activities is happening. So one way I would help to support engagement is to help with the promotion of society events, and I would hope to implement a RUSU app where basically committee members could publish their events, and it's just an easier way for the public to see what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew?
To ensure continued student engagement, I plan to work closely with society and sports club leaders, offering training and resources to help them develop effective strategies. I'll be fostering a sense of community, encouraging collaboration between different groups to create a vibrant and inclusive student community. Also, by establishing the central billboard and information point on campus to showcase the events, success stories, and promote collaboration, this will increase visibility and get more students involved.
Beth?
Throughout my manifesto, I've emphasised the importance of improving accessibility to financial support. The cost of living crisis is making life more expensive, but I believe that shouldn't prevent anyone from participating in sport, cultural, recreational and academic societies. I propose to improve access to the Student Activities Fund and raise awareness for members to utilise it for membership, equipment, trips and events. I will also build on access to external funds, such as encouraging sponsorships with local and national organisations. By doing this, I hope to ensure the continued engagement of students. Thank you.
So I'm looking at expanding the role of Freshers' Fair in getting people engaged and involved with societies and sports clubs, and therefore by getting involved with RUSU. I want to expand the demo spaces that when we do Freshers' Fairs they have, so that they can actively show what they're all about as well as telling people. I also want to make society creation materials more available so people know that they can create new societies that don't already exist.
Okay, now we're going to go back in reverse order. Sorry, Sam, so you'll be up again. With a question, which is, how will you develop equity, diversity, and inclusion within student opportunities?
So one of the major things I want to do is work with the EDI training for the EDI officers, developing it to give them a better tool set to be able to increase equity, diversity and inclusivity in societies, and I want to work with the part-time officers that represent those groups to understand what they think the groups that they represent will need.
Beth?
I would like to work with the Inclusion and Communities officers to introduce diversity and inclusivity pledges within society. For example, within football at the moment, we are starting the process of a pledge that will tie in with the RUSU welfare #NeverOK campaign, which we hope all our members will sign and will promote on social media, and hopefully we'll take that into the next years. I also want to improve the diversity of committees to reflect the membership and the wider student body, as our student body has so many diverse groups, and I hope that we can put them in, more of them in committees to make it more diverse and inclusive.
Perfect. There we go. Matthew?
I will start by providing resources and training to different student bodies, giving them skills and technology they will need to thrive. I will encourage the creation of new groups that represent a wide range of perspectives and interests, and will work with existing groups to ensure their content reflects our student body's diversity. I will also support and expand student volunteering schemes so that all students can make a difference. By doing these things, we can help ensure that every student has an equal opportunity to succeed.
Shania?
One of the main things everyone asks me when I decided to be committee for international society is why, since I'm not an international student, but that's just the type of person I am. I'm just someone who's really curious, who wants to know about different cultures and different people who are different from me. So I would hope to work with the inclusions officer to help bring diversity and equity to our campus. Thank you.
So we have a third question, and we'll go back to Shania. We're not moving on yet. Okay. Perfect. For this one, and back to the running order, which is, how will you work to embed competitive elections within the culture of our societies?
Thank you for your question. One way I think would help embed competitive culture would be with our cultural fest. That's one way I think that could help with competitiveness, and I think another way might be with a RUSU talent show, which could help showcase different societies' talents. For example, I'm part of a academic society which doesn't really have anything to do about culture, so I know we sometimes feel left out whenever cultural show comes on. So I definitely think the talent show will help be more inclusive to academic and sports societies. Thank you.
Matthew?
As an elected representative, I believe in the importance of competitive elections to ensure that the best candidates are chosen to lead and represent their members. To embed this culture within societies, I will work closely with society leaders to promote the benefits of having competitive elections, provide guidance on running fair and transparent elections, and recognise and celebrate societies that successfully implement competitive elections. Thank you.
Beth?
If I get activities officer, I'd like to create a platform for celebration for not just sports societies and teams that are doing well in the Bucks League, but academic societies, and give them a place to showcase the things they work on within their society, and also other societies. Also, increase benefits for committee members. For example, in my capacity as RUSU staff, I proposed an idea for Sports and Society Saturdays, and I hope to implement that properly going forward if I become your activities officer.
Sam?
So one of the major things I want to put forward for increasing competitive elections is to create a nominee raffle where nominees to two different committee roles could be entered to win some kind of prize to increase incentives for being on society committees. Also, we'll try and look into ways that we can give committee members specific perks, as it does take a lot of work to be a committee member out of your everyday day.
Well, one more final big round of applause for all of our activities candidates. Thank you so much for coming up. And you may sit back down, I guess. Jamie's going to take us through welfare.
Thank you very much, Oscar. I'd like to invite the people on the screen up to the stage, please. Okay, and we're going to kick off with your 90-second speeches, and we'll start in promotional order. So, Isha Sujal, please. Isha Sujal.
Hi everyone, my name is Isha, and I'm a final year law student running for the position of welfare officer at RUSU. As an international student from the Maldives, with almost no member of my ethnic background, I have battled with finding my people along with anxiety. I've made a mission to help others who could be in similar positions by co-founding the BAME Society and taking up the Minority Ethnicity Students Officer of last year. I bring a wealth of experience, but most importantly, I'll bring a genuine understanding of your welfare needs. I have planned a lot for if I get this position. Some of this includes 24/7 mental health services from the university or RUSU, introducing a late-night campaign that focuses on getting home safe, and to utilize networks such as International or Disability to consult students on welfare-related issues. I also plan to bring professionals at least once a month to give mental well-being talks and sessions on how to manage money while at university. My aim is to be a bridge that connects students to university. I'll do in my power to ensure that. Hence, my eyes will be eyes that are looking and finding and helping students that I need. My ears are ears that will be listening to your problems, ideas, and thoughts. Similarly, my tongue will act as an asset that communicates those thoughts and problems to RUSU and any relevant body. And finally, my brain is going to ensure that I do everything I have mentioned just to the best of my abilities. As a welfare officer, I promise to contribute my being for your well-being. Please vote for me, and good luck to all other candidates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Richard, please.
Sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Shall we move up a bit?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's not.
I don't know. I'm the worst person to do this. I remember last year Beth just watched me paint. Or if not, I'll go for it. Do you want to do that?
Sort of hold it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Lovely.
Sorry. When you're ready.
Lovely. Hi, I'm Richard. I've been at the university for 4 years now, through which I've spent a year being an EDI officer and a year being a welfare officer. And through this, it's really helped me to understand how I like to help people. That's basically what I want to do. So essentially, my manifesto, there's 3 main points. Essentially, the first point is safety for all, whether this be from sexual harassment, sexual assault, or possible health issues. This is sort of my plan. One of my main points in the manifesto is to train society members to use the defibrillators that are located on campus. A second point on my manifesto is inclusivity. Now, from my research, there are 2 groups which are very outcasted. These are families and international students. So my manifesto points address these problems to help families and help international students feel more welcomed at the university. The final point of my manifesto is to support the mental health and nutritional health of people. Now, the mental health is going to give people better access to counsellors, and through nutritional health, it's going to create a better relationship with people with food. And a lot of people come to university, they don't know how to cook, and then they end up eating bad food and get a bad relationship with food, which worsens their mental health. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And now we're going to move on to the 30-second questions, this time in order of publicity. Isha will go first. And the first question is, how will you work with the university to ensure that it is developing its strategy on dealing with harassment and sexual misconduct?
Firstly, I'll ensure that university is developing its strategy through frequent reminders of it that I'll provide by email or in person. To ensure this is effective, I'll personally advertise a Google form on social media so students can provide me with anonymous or non-anonymous occurrences of harassment. I'll encourage people through social media to speak up through form frequently. I'll use the responses I receive to come up with the suggestions for the university's strategy, so they may choose to develop their strategy according to the students' best interests. And to make sure all students are heard, and feel safe within the university.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'd like to invite Richard back to the microphone, please. What initiatives... the same question again. How will you work with the university to ensure it is developing a strategy on dealing with harassment and sexual misconduct?
Now, one of the first points on my manifesto is that bartenders working at the bars on campus and at Union will have better training on how to spot if someone's been spiked. Now, this is a big problem at the moment, and obviously the university is working on this, but it really helps if bouncers and the bar staff can see this. I'll also make sure that societies have to carry out compulsory sexual harassment training as part of the Knights accreditation scheme, so this ensures that everyone is on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, it's me again.
Yeah, because we're going to go now in reverse promotional order. So moving on to the second question, what initiatives will you bring to ensure students' mental health needs are being supported effectively?
Okay. So, yes, I'd like to increase the access that people have to counsellors. Obviously, I know at the moment that I've used the university's mental health scheme. It's very good, but the wait time is too long. So essentially, I want to get more counsellors in there so people can have these less wait times and also can have greater contact. I also, as I previously mentioned, want to improve people's relationships with foods and ensure that people know how to eat healthy foods and ensure that it's not just healthy foods that people eat. Understand that you have this balance and get a healthy relationship.
Thank you very much. And Isha, the same question, please. What initiatives will you bring to ensure that student mental health needs are being effectively supported?
As someone struggling with mental health issues myself, I deeply understand the need for these services within university. I'll introduce a 24/7 university hotline for students seeking mental health and advice. I'll bring professionals to have talks on mental health being at least once a month, specifically addressing the physical symptoms of mental health. Mental health training for both staff and students, and the Relax with RUSU. I want to continue that initiative that was held last year during the exam period to relieve stress. I personally really enjoyed it. I'll organize yoga sessions and board game nights that will help students take a break from studies and relax. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and we're going to move on to the last question. And again, we're going to go in promotional order now for this one. Okay, so the next question is, how do you plan to develop links between RUSU, students living on campus and in private halls of residence?
Thank you. Starting university is a major period of transition requiring students to adapt to new environments and social situations. I'll aim to introduce RUSU events similar to the ones that home and halls do, that will accommodate students from regardless where they reside, ensure that all students feel included. During these events, I would provide an introduction informing students more about RUSU and the services RUSU provide that students may not be aware of. For example, this can be to destigmatize speaking up about harassment cases through proper channels. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Richard, the final question. How will you plan to develop links between RUSU and students living on campus and in private halls of residence?
Well, in my first year, I lived in Kendrick Halls. Obviously, it's a 20-minute walk away for those who don't know. I did feel quite dissociated from people. However, I feel the way to best do this is to introduce people into societies, to get them to know that if they join this society, they have this great group of people that they can be around for mental health support and to get in. Also, yeah, I feel like there was a point made that I read. It was that to use a shuttle from Kendrick and to down there, the university, I feel like that would also be a great point to help people to get to the university and feel more included.
Thank you very much. And a big round of applause for our welfare candidates.
Now the true question is whether we want a 10-minute break or whether we want to just keep going. I don't mind, really. Consensus in the room? Do people need toilet breaks? Mental health breaks? Yes, I heard a yes. So you're going to take 10 minutes. 7 o'clock is the wonderful time. We all come back and reconvene. I'm counting. I've memorized all your faces. I expect you back. Perfect. Well, I need to... Yeah, you turn this down probably because I was speaking, but amazing. Hello, everyone. Could I call you back? I've given you a little bit extra time. We're going to go through the wonders of education and followed by President. So I'll give you just a second. Yes, also remember to sign in at the back, especially if you're a part of society, with Bethany, wherever she is. There she is, at the back, waving over there. It helps with the whole endorsement process and things like that. So, perfect. Right, well, so we've got wonders of education now, which we know is the best role. So yes, if I'd like to invite any of the education candidates to the front, publicity order, if you could, would be amazing. Perfect. Just get the timer ready. Okay. So, we start with Sophie. If you want to go, you've got 90 seconds for your manifesto or speech. And go forth when you're ready.
Hello, my name is Sophie. I'm a final year English language and literature student running to be your next education officer. I'm very enthusiastic about working alongside students and staff to enhance educational standards at Reading University. I want to improve university-wide communication by creating an education blog ensuring all students are informed about educational updates and gain helpful academic advice regularly. I'm from a foster care background and had to deal with the grief and bereavement of my mother passing away just before starting university. I understand how hard it can be to to focus on your education if you have barriers affecting your performance. I will ensure all students with ongoing issues and barriers feel supported and inspired in their educational journey by organising regular student education networks to address any ongoing issues students have. I will encourage staff to restructure departmental style guides so they are easier to understand and utilise, so students are confident in structuring their essays from day one. I will implement referencing workshops, ensuring all students are confident at correctly referencing in their essays. Assessment feedback is still a cause for concern for many students. I want to address this issue by working with staff to create standardised expectations for student feedback so it is always consistent and benefits all students. To vote for me is to vote for someone who will generally work hard to provide consistent support for student education so every student can reach their potential.
Perfect. Milan, when you're ready.
Right. Hi, I'm Milan. I'm running for Education Officer. If you want to see what I want to do, I encourage you to look at my manifesto, but I want to tell you a bit about why I am qualified for this role. I have studied 4 different courses across 3 different institutions. I started off as an ancient history undergraduate. No, I didn't. I started off as a maths undergraduate at Queen Mary's in London. Then I moved here to do ancient history at Reading. I then went and studied to be a maths teacher up in Northumbria, which I was a maths teacher for a year with a Teach First system. That's right, I understand both being an educator and being a student. I then came back here to study my passion, which is archaeology. But it's not my only passion. My other passion is fighting for rights. In the last year, in April last year, I organised, as Trans Movement Reading, a protest in 2 days. Just this weekend, I organised a vigil for Brianna Jai in 4 days, which had between 100 and 200 people attending, and speakers from institutions across England and speakers from around Reading. Just imagine what I can do for you in a year when it's my job, on top of what I've done already while working and studying. Thank you. Please vote for me. A vote for me is a vote for empathy and experience.
Amalika? Don't worry, I'm not counting.
Hi everyone, I'm Amalika and I'm a psychology with neuroscience student. I am an international student and I have a big background from like Kolkata, Singapore and the UAE, etc. Currently I am women's officer, I'm course rep, and I'm an autistic individual which has an impact on like every facet of my life. I believe my experience as a course rep has direct implications for what I can do for this position, as I currently make changes or have discussions regarding my degree, but I can help other students as well. So my manifesto points are the fact that I want to support international students further. There are about approximately 5,000 students who identify as international students out of the 20 or so thousand. And I believe that the support for us after education is a bit lacking, and that is why students feel a bit out of place. I also believe that as an individual with autism, I feel like sometimes we are out of the loop for career opportunities and placements. For example, I did the Europe scheme, which is quite obvious, but I feel like other opportunities are not as promoted very well. I believe that the accessibility and inclusion is important. Lastly, I want to advocate for detailed and quality feedback. Thank you.
Perfect. Valentina?
Hi everybody, it's a big pleasure to meet you all and my competitors. My name is Valentine, this will be easier to pronounce. I am a master's student on digital marketing at Hanley Business School, and I'm a course representative exactly on this course. Before coming to Reading, University of Reading is my 7th university, and I have a big experience because I was in different institutions in Europe, and I have experience which I would like to implement here. And my key points is firstly to have free access to all academic materials. You know that we a lack of books in the library, especially if you have assignments and you need to pass it quickly, and sometimes you have no time to find this book on the internet, so we would like, and I would like to improve it and have all materials in electronic way. Secondly, I would like to improve scholarships for refugees, because you know that our world is not safe and more people need to have some support to start everything from the beginning. And I'm this example, I'm a refugee from Ukraine. And the last point is academic support, to make more supportive groups for students and to put more hours to contact some professors if it's needed. Thank you.
Perfect. So, going to go back to running order. Our first question for education is, how will you ensure RUSU effectively represents the academic interests of students? Sophie, you're up first.
I will maintain regular senior rep consultation meetings, so I'm directly hearing the student views from all courses and can pass views on to staff in teaching and learning meetings. I will also have termly teaching and learning focus groups for all groups of students, so I can directly hear what needs to be improved in the student education experience. I will work with the welfare officer to create monthly student networks to address any common and ongoing external circumstances students have that are directly affecting their education.
Hello?
Could you repeat the question again very quickly? Sorry.
Of course, yes. I'll do it for everyone. Let's do, how will you ensure that RUSU effectively represents the academic interests of students?
Okay, so one of the things on my manifesto, it's point 2, is set action plans. I want to overhaul the current system with student reps and make it so that, based off my own experience as a teacher, intervention systems that can be checked up on and make sure that the things that are being brought to the table by our student reps are actually being implemented, and if they are being implemented, what the impact of that is. If there is no impact, why is there no impact? We can then go back and look at why that is. This system is used in schools, it's called 4 Eyes. I think we could bring it to the table here, and it would be really effective.
Amalika? So again, how will you ensure that RUSU effectively represents the academic interests of its students?
So one thing I strongly believe in and have participated in for years since I joined uni in 2020 is focus groups. For example, I have participated in Oscar's TEF Teaching Excellence Framework groups, and I found that, you know, it has the most vivacious people speaking and representing us. Second of all, I wish to advocate for issues raised by students and have regular availability and have close relationships with staff at RUSU. Thank you.
And Valentina, I get that right this time.
Thank you so much. As an education officer, first of all, we have different academic centers in society. As I mentioned, I would like to improve more supportive groups for students, where students can share with some fears which they can share exactly to teachers or somebody else. And I would like to provide open door policy, because you can freely come and say everything what you want, because sometimes you don't know where to go, to whom to talk, and what you would like to say about that. So the main thing exactly as well, to constant meetings with student representatives where they can say exactly if some implements are effective or not.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, sorry, Valentina, you will be up first for the next question. So it's our EDI question, which is, what initiatives would you like to champion with the aim of reducing the awarding gap?
Okay. The first thing is eliminate the gap between different ethnic groups, and to provide I always think that every effort should be rewarded. So if any successful idea or campaign will be implemented here in the university, we definitely should pay attention for that, support every student, because every idea could be fresh and we can be very initiative and innovative. Thank you.
Okay. Amalika. So, again, what initiatives would you like to champion with the aim of reducing the awarding gap?
So this is a point I'm strongly advocating for. So for example, the Amos and Doku 2019 Closing the Gap report has a lot of talking points that I would like to get into in the future one day. I'd like to educate people on what the gap is in the first place. I didn't know when I first joined uni. I'd like to make tutoring programs and partner with career opportunities so that students can feel very involved. And I'd like to do bursary programs. For example, the School of Biology has it, but not every school has a £500 bursary. Thank you.
Right. So what initiatives would you like to champion with the aim of reducing the awarding gap?
Okay, so I want to point everyone to point 3 on my manifesto, support diverse voices. I want to work very closely with the part-time officers as well as focus groups to hear what academic issues are people from various ethnic backgrounds struggling with that is causing this gap. This should not be a problem. It is disgusting that it is a problem, and we need to fight to stop it, and I will do whatever I can to close that gap.
Sophie, what initiatives would you like to champion with the aim of reducing the awarding gap?
To reduce the awarding gap, I will have monthly empowerment events in RUSU where I invite Reading University alumni who are from underrepresented groups to talk about their journey to success after being at Reading University. This will ensure students feel represented and inspired. With the inclusion and welfare officers, I will arrange student education focus group for underrepresented and disadvantaged students to talk about any barriers and issues they face that directly affect their education so it can be addressed quickly and efficiently.
Sorry, Sophie, you're up one more time because we're going back to running order. So, last question is, what issues do you think the university should address to ensure students receive high quality of teaching and learning, or a high quality of teaching and learning?
As stated in my manifesto, I think the university should restructure departmental style guides so they're easier to understand and utilise. I will improve the quality of assessment feedback by creating a standardised framework for all departments to use, ensuring feedback is consistently benefiting all students. I want staff to have direct spoken communication with students through their modules to ensure any ongoing issues are addressed quickly and efficiently. This will improve the effectiveness of teaching and learning, as lecturers will have a regular idea of what needs to be improved.
So, what issues do you think the university should do to address, what issues do you think the university should address to ensure students receive a high quality of teaching and learning at Reading?
As an ex-teacher, I understand that the well-being of an educational professional will impact the quality of teaching that they provide. Therefore, I want to work to make sure that we support strikes in the future. Industrial action is incredibly important. It's one of our inalienable rights. Furthermore, I also want to get Trans in the City involved to find out what's going on exactly with the university pulling out of Stonewall, because again, that's part of the welfare of the staff, and that will impact your experience as well, because their welfare impacts their ability to teach you.
Sorry, we have some funky lights. What issues do you think the university should address to ensure students receive a high quality of teaching and learning at Reading?
So in my experience with these focus groups, we have discussed at length timetabling and commuting issues for students, with different backgrounds. And this also includes the caretaker bursary that I had previously discussed, that people need this sort of support to get the quality education they deserve. I also think that there should be better study spaces for buildings such as psychology, which are really far away. And I'd like to work with the disability officers to increase mobility around campus for people such as myself and other students. Thank you.
And Valentine, what issues do you think the university should address to ensure students receive a high quality of teaching and learning at Reading?
Thank you for the question. As I mentioned, the first point of my manifesto, you remember, it's academic resources and materials, which we mostly lack of that, or you have really payment resources which you need to pay for. So it's eliminate this point with the main thing. And of course, to put more office hours where you can bring to the professor and ask additional questions. Don't wait for 5 working days for the emails, and be sure for everything. And of course, to support already what RUSU does as education officer officer and generally a RUSU policy. Thank you.
So, that's concluding our education officers. A big round of applause for all our education officers. Well done, everyone. You may return to your seats. Thank you. I'm going to be handing over to Jamie, who's going to go through the presidents.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite our presidential candidates up to the chairs at the front, please. In promotional order, if you can. Okay. And again, we're going to do your 90-second speeches, and we're starting in promotional order. And we're going to go with Anush first, please. Sorry, no. Yash. My apologies. Sorry, everybody. Yash, please. Just keeping you on your toes there, Yash.
Good evening, everyone. Can I remove this? Hi, everyone. I stand before you today as a candidate for the position of RUSU student president, and I am honored to have this opportunity to share with you my vision for our university. First and foremost, I believe that our university should be a leader in sustainability. We have a responsibility to protect the environment for our future generation. And I am committed to ensuring that we do our part. As a president, I will work to implement sustainable practices on campus, such as reducing energy consumption, promoting recycling, and encouraging the use of public transportation. And the foremost thing is, I believe, is to increase the vegan products in the university. I will also advocate for the inclusion of environmental education in our curriculum so that we can better understand the issues and the work towards the solution. Secondly, I believe that the voice of every student should be heard and valued. As your president, I will work to create more open and transparent university where all students have the opportunity to share their opinions and ideas. Together, we can ensure that our voices are heard and that our university is truly representative of our interests and our concerns. Finally, I believe that our university should be a place where students can grow and thrive. As your president, I will work to ensure our students offers maximum opportunities for personal and professional development. As being an international student from India,
Time. Okay, and Edward Gregory, please.
Okay. Right. So, what brought you to Reading Uni? The course, the campus, the quickness by train to London? I came for one reason. Reading Students' Union. I heard about it as far away as in Portsmouth, where the 2,000-person club nights seemed but an imaginary paradise. The £2 snake bites, an economical impossibility, and the free spirit of the students, a figment of only ideological theory. On arriving, I found the burning embers of these institutions. Once the union reached upwards of 1,000 people, the snake bites were £2.20, and the student culture was suddenly loose. I was told by alumni that it didn't used to be so. It used to be not good, but great. The big difference, of course, was COVID. A black mark that the union still hasn't quite recovered from. We're currently standing on hallowed ground. Ground that by day is empty and soulless, but by night quickly becomes an institution of Reading University. The room, of course, is Cheese Room, which plays the best music, has the friendliest DJs, and represents Reading University in all its beauty. When I make a promise, I hold it close to my heart, like a child to its mother. I hold the beliefs of Reading students deeply in my being. I promise to install air conditioning in Cheese Room, inquire for planning permission for a second floor, and serve food at the end of the union. I likewise wish to have Reading Electronic Music Society do regular sets, especially in main room. I promise to lobby student bars for lower food and drink prices due to the chaotic cost of living crisis. And Sean gets the last box, I might run out. Promise to unify the campus.
Time, please.
Oh, time.
Sheldon Allen, please.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name's Sheldon. I'm your current RUSU president, and I'm standing for re-election for a second term. These last 6 months since taking up office have been nothing short of incredible. The time has flown by, and it feels like only yesterday I was standing here before you seeking election as your president. But why should you re-elect me? Well, since taking up office, I've had a constant record of delivery. I've lobbied the university to reprioritise their estate strategy to include more student space. I delivered my sustainability app where you can get prizes every month for living more sustainably. I set up a cost of living task force, launched a £1.50 budget breakfast in Mojo's, and set up the Student Opportunities Fund. I'm serious about delivering for you. But most importantly, what more could be done? Well, firstly, the cost of living. I want to look at it further and explore developing the breakfast into a cheap lunch service. I also want to continue the work of the cost of living task force and secure more funding for the Student Hardship Fund. I want you to have the best time. I want to make it a priority to work with local events companies to bring you better, cheaper, and a more diverse series of events on campus and in town. Lastly, I recognise that RUSU has more to do to be truly student-led. I want to integrate more students into RUSU's core team so you can gain experience, not just using RUSU services, but creating and running them, and these roles will be paid. This is our union, so let's do better, let's go further, and let's get back to work.
Thank you very much. And Josh Dearden, please.
It's always a tough act following our current RUSU president, but I will try my best. Hello everyone, I'm Josh, and I'm currently studying computer science in my 3rd year. And I've been working at RUSU since the beginning of my 2nd year, and I think I have some valuable information that could be used for the future of our union. First off, I want to talk about rebranding Saturday Union to involve live music and a theme depending on the week. I want to launch a alcohol-free night with a range of mocktails and music we wouldn't typically hear from a Wednesday union. I also want to show more sports within Mojo's, and I want to ensure that the Euros will be played in 360 as a major event. Secondly, I want to relaunch the newspaper and show hard-hitting real news that students aren't seeing at the moment, and not sugarcoating it either. I want to launch an Instagram account to follow up with this, to bring it into the modern age. And finally, I want to lobby a sponsorship system to allow societies and teams to gain sponsorships through RUSU streamlined. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
And finally, for the 90-second speeches, Taylor Boyd.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to start off by throwing 3 words at you. And these words are visibility, transparency, and accountability. These are 3 things that I think our union needs to have. But at the minute, I feel like we're getting a lack of it. Visibility. We're not seeing much of our officers. We're not talking to our officers. We're not getting the chance to hear from them directly as often as we maybe should be. We deserve a chance to go and speak to them and share how we feel. And I know this as a position of a part-time officer. It was definitely talked quite a bit between us that we felt that we weren't getting heard as much as the full-time officers were. And this is definitely something I want to change. But moving away from visibility, I want to talk a bit about my manifesto. So our welcome week, we have that. We get to meet everybody. We get to go to loads of events. But I think we need to use this week to sit down, talk, and actually get to know our union a bit more. What are we? Who are we? What do we stand for? What do we want to do in the year that we're here? Second of all, I want to create a panel, and we're going to call this Diverse Democracy. Different from Student Council, very different, hopefully. So we can sit down, talk, hear from the minority groups on the campus. How are you feeling? What's going wrong? Are we not supporting you? Let me know. Lastly, I want to introduce a food bank to our campus. Yes, we are dealing with waste as much as we can. RUSU waste 10% of waste every year. as said on the website. And I think if we get a food bank, we can help with oh my gosh, you've got me there, Oscar. If we get a food bank in, not only will we reduce waste on campus, everybody's pot noodles at the end of every term, but we will also ensure
Time, please.
that we're not wasting money. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move over to questions. The first question will be in promotional order. So we will start with Yash Kathari, please. Okay, and the first question is, how do you plan to ensure increased student engagement with RUSU?
Okay, so first thing, advertising in RUSU social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Insta, and we'll make sure that every student get each and every information that what things are going on with the RUSU. And like one of my colleagues said, that newspaper and will get each and every information so that student can be updated and can get the maximum information from the RUSU.
Thank you, thank you. And the same question to Edward Gregory, please. 30 seconds.
Right.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. How would you ensure increased student engagement in RUSU?
Right, I'll do this one in Spanish for the international students. Si tenemos todos los elementos para pache hacia el futuro, recordemos la escuela frase de Mati, que en este momento yo estoy practicando, pero que hay que practicar constantemente la mejor manera de decir y hacer. Y marchemos entonces hacia el futuro de RUSU. Yeah, I'll be asking about engaging with students, getting to know them on a personal level, and I plan to hold more important votes on important student issues. I feel like a lot of students don't quite know who the full-time officers are, so I'd like to let them know who the officer is.
Time, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, we start timing from when you start speaking about your manifesto. Just so don't worry.
Well, there we go. That's wonderful. Thank you. Sheldon Allen, please. Of course. How do you plan to ensure increased student engagement with RUSU?
Cheers, Jamie. I want students to feel like they can make a real change in their union. RUSU needs to appeal to more students. That's why I'll use fun and exciting events to bring more students into our union. It's my hope that by creating a more open and inclusive students' union, RUSU will be able to work more proactively with organisations across Reading that can deliver for us. For example, I hope to develop a partnership with local organisations that will mean we can host a better series of events on campus and in town. This will lead to more students engaging with RUSU because it's our job to help students have the best time.
Thank you very much. Josh Dearden, please. Yes. How do you plan to ensure increased student engagement with RUSU?
Well, I believe a massive step in this direction is the rebrand of Saturday Union, getting more people into Saturdays where it's not looking too great at the moment. But I believe the biggest step towards student engagement would be the showing of sports in Mojos and the Euros in 360, as I believe we've lost a bit of faith with the sports fans and students. So this step would bring more students back to RUSU. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Taylor Boyd, how do you plan to ensure increased student engagement with RUSU?
Yeah, so just like my fellow candidate said, I do think that we need to rebrand a few things and bring some excitement back to the union. But I would also like to open forums online and have conversations face-to-face where students can come along, tell us what it is that they're missing out of their university experience. Is there events that you want? Are there things we're not showing? Why are you not having fun? Because that is what we're here to do. We're here to give you a good time, to support you, and make the best of your university experience. Let's keep you updated on RUSU news. You keep us updated on yours. Let's be transparent with each other. Let's be a team, because we can't give you the RUSU you want if we're not a team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And stay there, Taylor. Stay there. Because we're now going to go in reverse promotional order with the next question. What is your top priority in relation to equity, diversity and inclusion, and how will you go about achieving this?
Carrying on with what I just said about being a team, I think that as officers and as staff of RUSU, we need to be more accessible to students. There's not enough accessibility. We're not talking to you guys as much as we should be, and I know that from my various roles on the campus at the minute. We need to be a team. We need to make sure that everyone has the same opportunities. Every voice on this campus needs to be heard and feel like they're being heard. We all need to have a chance to look at one another, listen to one another, and support one another. I just think we've got to talk, we've got to be open. RUSU need to be transparent, because otherwise we're not going to know what everybody needs and what everybody wants. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And Josh Dearden, please. Indeed. What is your top priority in relation to equity, diversity and inclusion, and how will you go about achieving this?
Well, I believe a major step towards this will be my plan for an alcohol-free Friday club night. I have spoken to so many students and they don't drink for religious reasons or just for personal reasons. And having this club night will give those types of people an opportunity to socialize and not have to worry about drunk people stumbling around the halls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sheldon Allen, please. What is your top priority in relation to equity, diversity and inclusion, and how will you go about achieving this?
Thanks, Jamie. My top priority is to make RUSU look more like the students it represents. RUSU is not diverse, and other than myself, only one other member of staff identifies as a person of colour. It's not good enough. Our union must look like us. Good work has been done, and it's amazing to see the launch of our Black Leadership Programme last year, but more must be done. If I'm re-elected, I will continue my work to introduce unconscious bias training for all staff. I'll work with our Head of Digital and Comms, Annie, and our HR Manager, Zena, to make this happen. We must work together to tackle racial inequalities and biases head-on. As your Students' Union, it's our job to lead the way, and I hope that you'll re-elect me to continue working for you.
Thank you, thank you. And Edward Gregory, please. The same question. What is your top priority in relation to equity, diversity and inclusion, and how will you go about achieving this?
I stand for love. I care for this precious union, and I do not look beyond it. I look at it deep in its eyes and whisper over the balcony, my love, you are safe now. I will love you as you are. I will care for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Yash Kathari, please. What is your top priority in relation to equity, diversity and inclusion, and how will you go about achieving this?
Okay, so for me, it's like education and training will play an important role by providing to the staff, student and faculty to ensure that they have a better understanding to the issues and how they can play a role in creating a more inclusive environment. And I'm pretty sure that next year, each and every student sitting here might be able to open like how they want to be and how they are in the public. Like as Sheldon said, that we still see the difference, like being in any community, people are afraid to open up.
Time, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay where you are, Yash, because it's time for the third question. How do you plan to focus and drive sustainability within RUSU?
Okay, so sustainability is a very major part. As a president working to implement sustainable practices, as I told you earlier, that reducing energy, promoting recycling, using of public transport, and increase the access by promoting and providing more and more vegan food. And second, advocate for the including environmental education and curriculum to understand the issue, work on sustainability, and by getting the maximum feedback and to work on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Edward Gregory, please.
I'm going to put more beehives on campus, and I'm going to release more animals around the lake. Release more animals and put more beehives on campus.
Thank you very much. Sheldon Allen, please.
So, in driving forward sustainability at RUSU, I will ensure I continue to develop the sustainability app that I launched last year. If everybody makes small changes, we can create a better world for all of us. To do even more in this area, I plan to continue my work with plant-based universities to incorporate CO2 emission calculations on our menu so that we can all make climate-friendly choices when you choose to eat in RUSU or across campus. Ultimately, climate change is one person's problem. It's not one person's problem. It's not just my problem. It's loads of people's problem, and it's all about. It's all our issue. And by working together, we'll all make a difference.
Thank you. Thank you. Josh Dearden, please. Okay, and I'll repeat the question. How do you plan to focus and drive sustainability within RUSU?
Okay, so a major thing I've noticed within working with RUSU, and I'm sure customers have as well, is plastic cups within union night. While I've seen, and all of you have seen, when the lights come on a union, the amount of plastic cups on the floor, and I feel that this could be so easily solved with just a simple switch to a more sustainable cup. This would be my first major step in towards that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. And finally, Taylor, please. How do you plan to focus and drive sustainability within RUSU?
So similar to what Sheldon mentioned, recently at a student council meeting, Plant-Based University stepped forward and presented the idea of giving more vegan and plant-based friendly options across campus. For those of you that don't know or maybe were not aware of the meeting taking place, there were 93 votes in this, with 75 votes pushing it up and 18 down. So I think those numbers there showcase that it is clearly something that people on this campus want. More so than this, any waste on campus, I would like to direct it somewhere where it can be reused, e.g. a food bank. Where is all the wasted food going? Nobody's telling us. We need to make sure that it is being given to those that need it and is also protecting the planet.
Please. Time, please. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much to all the candidates that have taken the time to prepare for this evening and have come up and spoken to you all and told you all about their priorities. It's no mean feat to be up here and to talk to you all tonight. So thank you very much.
There we go. And another round of applause for the presidential candidates. Yep. So I'm just going to tell you about some important dates, and then I'm going to let you drink. So voting period is starting tomorrow. 8 a.m. So make sure to keep an eye on the wonders of RUSU and the website. We have our results night on Friday. Please come join us for that. The presidents have a presidential debate from 4:30 in Palmer G10 on Wednesday. Come along to that one. There'll be more questions there. And yes, and finally on the guise of Sustainability Summit next Wednesday, we have a Reading University Sustainability Summit. I've probably shelled it to you already. Please come along, whether you have a job as an FTO or not. You're welcome. Okay, perfect. Now pop the Prosecco. Go for it. Thank you very much for coming. Perfect. Well done, Jamie. Thank you. We've finished our... What time is it? It's 7:45. We finished very early. Oh well.
Well done, mate. Well done.
It's wonderful.
That was fun.
That was very good. I'm going to go return